All right, we are looking at worksheet 10 and it's on reflections. So we are focusing only on reflections today, and this is one of the transformations. Now, when it says reflect across the x-axis, the first couple already have the figure drawn for you, so that's nice. It saves a little bit of work. But what I want to do with the highlighter is highlight the x-axis so our attention is drawn to it. Now that I have the x-axis highlighted, I'm going to reflect. So if you look, it doesn't matter where you start. I'm starting with Q. Q is 1 unit below, so I'm going to go 1 unit up. Now, when I label this, I'm going to label it Q with that little apostrophe, which stands for Q what? Q prime. So here's the original figure, and I know that this is Q prime. It's the secondary figure. So Q prime is at the point what? And I think that
4, 1.
I think that the x-axis could be a little bit darker than the y-axis, but that pen's not working. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And that is Q prime. All right, next I'm going to reflect G. G is 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 down. All right, so
why are we doing it like that?
Hold on. So 1, 2, 3. No, it's 3, negative 4. So now I have L. L is 2 units. L is 2 units above. And then I'm going to go 2 units below, which makes it L prime. So what is the point L prime? 1, negative 2.
Do they call it prime when it's just the other one?
Yes. So basically you have your pre-image and then you have your new image. So you don't have the L showing up twice. We see here's the original and here's L prime. Now, if we did a third thing and made a third figure, we would call it L double prime. You'd have like 2 tick marks beside it. Okay. So this one's done. Okay. Now, I'm not going to do all of these with you, but I want to remind you, when this says reflect across the y-axis, do me a favor, highlight that, or not y-axis, across y equals 3. Highlight that y equals 3. That way I am looking, saying this is different. Now, where does y equal 3 on the graph? Where's this reflection line?
The third line up.
Okay, so when it says y equals 3, oh, that's not it. Okay, y equals 3 right here. Now, when I'm looking at that, it's the horizontal line, and a lot of us don't think about it that way. We think up and down, but it cuts through. That's how I want you to remember that. Cuts through the y-axis, cuts through y-axis at 3. That's how I'm going to remember it and not mess up that line. So I'm going to reflect it over this line, not over the x-axis, not over the y-axis, but over y equals 3.
So that would be your new x-axis.
Boy, I am really, it's not your new, it reflects over, it cuts through the y at 3. Yeah, it cuts through the y-axis at 3. I'm good. Okay, look at number 3. It says reflection across y equals 1. So stay with me and you'll have time to work on this. Where does y equal 1? Vertical or horizontal line?
Horizontal.
Horizontal, because it cuts through the y-axis at what? 1. So my origin is still down here. I mean, this is still my origin, but this is the line that I'm reflecting it over. So this helps draw my attention. Okay, reflect across the x-axis right here. All right, let's jump down and notice in numbers 5 and number 6, you have to graph the original problem and label it. And then this one, you're going to do reflection over the x-axis. Where's the x-axis? Right here. And number 6 says reflection across y equals negative 2. So here is where y equals negative 2.
Are we doing this by ourselves?
Yeah, I was going to do one of these with you guys. Let me see if there's one on the back. Okay, yeah, let's do number 6 together. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my regular figure and label it. So h is negative 1, negative 5.
Which one?
I'm doing 6, yeah. So every time you put a point, we want it labeled, okay? You'll get it back if you have no labels, and honestly, it takes more time to go back and relabel it. So draw the point, label it. M is negative 1, negative 4. So right above it. B is 1, negative 2. So right on the line. that we're reflecting.
Did you say B?
That's B. And then C is +3, -3. Okay, so everything's labeled. I'm going to connect it. But I think it's easier to label as you go because you don't have to go back and figure out which one's which. Okay, so here's my figure. And now we're going to reflect it. Now, where am I reflecting it? Over y = 2. So this is already here for you with the primes. You just have to fill it in. So if I do h prime on this line, this is where I'm focusing. H is 1, 2, 3 below. So h prime is going to be 3 above. That's h prime. And I'm going to go ahead and figure out what that point is. Here's my origin. I think that's troublesome because I can't always find it as easily. So it is -1, +1. -1, +1. All right, then I am going to do M. So it's 2 below. We're going to go 2 above. There's M prime, which is what? -1, 0. And guys, I just put this dot here to help me find my origin. All right, B is the same. It's going to be B prime. It's going to be the same point, which is 1, -2. And then C is way over here. It's only 1 unit below, so we're going to go 1 unit above. And there is C, which is what? Is that 3, -1? All right, then connect your figure. And when you do this, I mean, other than your line maybe looking a little different, we should really see if I fold my paper in half, this would fold right over there, wouldn't it? Okay. Do you have your points filled in? Do you have your graph label with the original and with the primes? All right, so if you're waiting for me to move on, I'm going to give you another second on here. I want to go over one idea on the back. It shouldn't take you long to do the back, but I want to make sure you understand it. So the directions here say tell which axis, x or y, or which line, x equals or y equals a number, that the shape reflects across. So find out where that axis of symmetry is. And in this one, it's right here. Do you guys agree? Now, if we're looking at the graph, this is the origin right here. So this one's cutting through the x-axis. So I heard x equals -2. So it's cutting through the x-axis, and that's why it's x equals. All right, so that's all you're doing here, guys, is you're trying to figure out, here's my original, where did it reflect to? And then this is what it reflected over. So that's what you're doing with these 4 problems on the back.